Hello everybody, my name is Cool Blue and I'm bringing you all this video on a thing that I kind of think needs to be talked about more, or wish was talked about more, and that is profiles on the Galaxy tablets or Samsung tablets. In this particular case, I have two devices in front of me. I have the Samsung Galaxy S7 FE or Fan Edition and the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra. If you're wondering why I have both, because I do. But if you really want to know why I have both, it's because I originally had this one and then I bought this one with the intention of gifting this one to a family member. But that family member got a better tablet before I gifted them this, so I just kept this one in this one, so I have two. So there you go. That's the mystery. Not that anybody was really asking, but yeah. So the feature I'm going to talk about is profiles, and profiles are just basically a way for you to have multiple uses out of your same tablet. So I could theoretically use this one tablet as four different tablets, so to speak, or have four different purposes for it. Just depends on what you're trying to do and what you're doing with it. And just to kind of excuse me, just kind of explain a little bit better, what we'll do is we'll just zoom in really fast on the Tab S7 FE, and then get this one out of the way, and then we'll do the rest of our demonstrations on the Tab S8 Ultra. But first, we're here on the kind of closer screen. You can see here I have, and apologies for the bars, but you can see here that we have just kind of, just standard app window, app view. We have different apps here. We have, Google Drive and, Amazon Gaia projects, different random apps that I have installed. But the main thing is that we have this task list. This is Microsoft's to-do list. And in Microsoft's to-do list, I'm logged in with my school account, so my school email address, and that school account has second task and task the first. Those are the two tasks we have there. If I bring this down and switch over to my other profile, which is OJ Blue in this case, and I go into that profile, what we'll see, once I unlock the screen, what we'll see is that we have a different layout, different view, different setup, different configuration, different profile. And inside this profile, we have, I logged in with my other Microsoft account, which is not school related. And you see I have different tasks and then show you the way. Those are two tasks I have there. We have different apps installed. So we have, Discord, Instagram, Anchor, all kinds of other fun stuff down here. To-do list is over there. Race for the Galaxy, the game, Gaia project is also there. So you have different profiles on the same device. And this allows you to have a lot of different flexibilities. There are limitations to this, which I'll go ahead and name up front, and those limitations are that I'm not able to use Dex. So if I swipe this down and then scroll through here, note that Dex is not an option. Also, second screen is not an option. So if I go over here and go into the plus, so these are all the things I have access to: live captioning, live transcribe, kids, but I do not have Dex access. If I switch over to the other profile on this device, you'll see that Dex is an option. So that is one of the limitations on this. Also, there's some resource considerations that should be taken into account, but we'll talk about that on the other device. So you see here, right here, Dex is right there. We see second screen is right there, and all this other fun stuff. QR code scanner, blah, secure Wi-Fi, Bixby routines. So, the main profile, the host profile has more stuff. The guest profile, which is that the second profile is called, has a little bit less stuff. And there's a lot of use cases for this. And those use cases are, for me, for instance, I have my school stuff on this profile, which has access to Dex, so I can do Dex stuff, I can do school stuff. And then I have my social media or non-school stuff on the other profile. I could make a third profile. This particular device that we're looking at, the Samsung Galaxy Tab S7 FE, does have 6 gigs of RAM, so I could theoretically kind of do another one. It works comfortably with two profiles with 6 gigs of RAM. I have not run into too many issues with having too many things run in the background, especially when I'm just going crazy with multitasking. And the few times I have had slowdowns, I've had multiple games running, YouTube, and then like some encoding stuff. I don't know, some other random stuff. But what I'm trying to say is that there's enough resources on this device, on this Tab S7 FE, to actually handle the multitasking and handle the multiple profiles. So you can do it if you have one of those devices. You don't have to necessarily go for the big fancy Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 that I have here as well, but just kind of emphasizing that point. So let me switch back over to excuse me, to our main screen. And we see here the two devices. So I'm going to put this one to the side, and we're just going to focus on the Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra. Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra. So let me switch over to that one. And here we are in the screen. So we can see kind of similar things. These profiles are consequently set up the same, so there's very similar things. Excuse me. So you can see I have my school stuff here on this one, and all that other fun stuff. And then on the other one, I have my social media stuff. And, you know, different apps, different devices. It's a different tablet altogether. Blah blah blah. But we're not here to bore you with that. We're here to talk about some more details regarding this. So if you're looking at how to set this up, what you would do is you would go into your settings, and then from here, you would go into, I just type in user, and then from here go into users, and then go into users, and then from here you can set up your different users. You see here I have 3 different users. I have me, which is blue, I have OJ Blue, which is the other profile, and then I have guest. I can go into different profiles and do different things. You can also add different profiles and make new ones, which are either restricted, which have access to only content that you allow them to. So you can have like a restricted account that only has access to, maybe if you have, what's that card thing? Man, I'm blanking on the names on that one. So if you have like a account that you use, or a profile that you use for your shop stuff. Man, Square. That's what it's called, Square. Jeez, I was blanking on that one. Really hard. So if you have like a Square service, you can have all your Square accounts, or so you can have a profile set up for Square that has your Square app, that has your Square app adjacent things, maybe has your Google Drive for Square and all those stuff, whatever you use with Square on that one. So you can set up restricted profiles which have access to only apps that you approve. And then you can just set up a normal user account, which they have the ability to kind of install their own apps, add their own app store, do all this other fun stuff. We'll show that later on. But this is how you would actually set that up. Just add profile, add user, and then go through the steps on adding it up. So let's go and talk about some of the flexibilities this gives you. So here we have a few different things. I'm going to show you my SSH stuff because it's fun. I'm on my main profile. We have 3 different SSH using Juice SSH, which is what I use to manage my Raspberry Pis and play around with them. So we have 3 different things here. We have the top one, middle one, and third one under frequently used. We're going to go into the top one. And from here, I'm just going to do, I guess we're just going to run that. And we can see here, we got this running right now on my Raspberry Pi. And we see the CPUs are just kind of, idling, doing their thing. We got some other stuff going on. We got the 8 gigs of RAM listed for the Raspberry Pi. CPU thermals are listed at 33 degrees Celsius. All the other fun stuff about Raspberry Pis. This is not a Raspberry Pi specific video, but it's Raspberry Pi adjacent, which is why we're talking about it. And if I switch over to my other profile, that's going to keep running in the background. So you'll see that running, that will be running in the background. I should just say that's running in the background. And once I unlock the screen here, there we go. I can jump into Juice SSH. Note that this page is different, same app, but different view. We see the frequently used is right there. We only got this one listed for, just the one device, which is the same one we just connected to subsequently, or consequently. If I connect into that, I'm SSH'd into it separately, which is the thing you can do. And if I do ping google.com, I can ping Google. If I do ping twitter.com, I can ping Twitter. If I do, ping YouTube. Cool, I can do all these things. This is the main thing I'm trying to show, is I can do all these things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a command here. Actually, before we do that, I'm going to run top. And if I run top, here is going to show us all the things that are running on the device kind of at the time. We see up here, we see GoTop, which is right up there at the very top under the command section. So you see PID, user, and then on the other side we see command. So GoTop is right there, all this other stuff running in the background, and then top is actually running, which is the application we have running. So let me exit out of that. And we're going to run a command that's going to stress the Raspberry Pi a little bit. And that's running. Okay, cool. So we're going to go back over to the other side. And what we're going to show is we're going to show that the Raspberry Pi is actually showing some traffic, showing some stress on some of the CPUs, and showing some activity. So you see this is running the whole time, and because it's running the whole time, we have that little flat line down here on the left-hand side. And then towards the middle now, we see the CPU usage started going up. That's because of the command we just ran. The command is still running in the background, so the CPUs are still kind of being stressed a little bit. They're kind of passing around and managing that on their own. But the main thing I'm trying to show is that both of these things are running at the same time. I'm using the same app for 2 different profiles. They're both doing 2 different things, and they're both running at the same time. I switched between profiles, things to be persistent, different buckets, if you will, of things happening from this one device. So I think it's pretty cool, especially considering that the Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra, which is what we're looking at, this one has 12 gigs of RAM. This particular model I have, so 12 gigs of RAM, I can probably run maybe 3 or 4 profiles pretty easily. Only run 2 ever, but that's just kind of that. And if I go, just let me see, let me quit out of here, and let me kill all, yes, and then we do go top again. So go top. So the other instance is still running in the background, but I just killed the process of the command that I ran, and we can see here that now the CPU is calmed down. If I do the same command, yes, and /dev/null, and then I do go top. We can see that the CPU is kind of spiking up again. Just to kind of emphasize this whole thing, that just kind of showing that they are separate and doing different things. See, the command down there is running as yes, using 25% of the CPU. Swipe and unlock. And I'm running the same thing, go top again, different instance. Once again, this is kind of more of a little bit more of a note on what SSH does than what the Android device does, but the Android device is doing it too and keeping up with it. That's kind of the main thing to emphasize, is that it's kind of keeping up with that and is actually showing different traffic, showing different things. I see the command yes is running, I see go top is running, container, Docker and stuff is running too, but that's not the main focus here. So we do Control C, do kill all, yes, kill all. I think that's, yeah, there we go. Okay, so I killed all the processes there. So I've done that for this one. If I switch over to the other profile, I should see that process gone because we just left it running last time. I think I left it running. I don't remember. Yeah, okay, cool. It's been terminated. Got it. Cool. Good stuff. All right, anyway, so that's enough of the boring stuff. Looking at some of the other applications and other approaches, I mentioned before that productivity is kind of one of the main uses for this. So I have a Microsoft account for my school stuff. I have a Microsoft account for my non-school stuff. So if I ever want to do some productivity stuff for either one, I can do that. I do have the limitation of not being able to use Dex or second screen on the guest profiles, which is kind of annoying. But it's not the biggest loss in the world. Like, I don't really use Dex all that much anyway, because Dex tends to be a little bit more inconvenient than it is convenient. But just kind of emphasizing that whole point, what I have here is I have a game running. In this game, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of start up a game. This is a Race for the Galaxy. If you have never played that game, it's a fun game. It's an entertaining game. Wouldn't be my first recommendation for board games to jump into, but it is a good one. And in here, I'm just kind of running through a turn. Oh, we're playing solo, or 2-player, that's why. I don't want to do that. There. So I'm playing the game, doing my turn, doing different things, playing thing. The AI is doing their stuff. We're kind of being cool. And if I switch over to profiles, go into the OJ Blue one, and the OJ Blue one, I can also run a separate instance of the same game on that profile too. Now, that actually brings up an interesting conversation. When you do install the apps, on your device, especially on a multi-profile device, what happens is that the apps will install, the first profile to do it will install the app, and the second profile to do it, so the guest profile to do it, that also installs the same app, the same exact app, will just kind of make it available for them. Which I thought was always interesting. So it shows that the device is sharing resources to some degree. It's not just making a new of everything. But on the same token, you do have that consideration to keep in mind. So if you don't have it installed, it's not going to show up. But once you do actually install it from the Play Store, it's going to authorize it to be used on that device with that particular profile, and then it shows up. So this is running from the same instance of the app, is what I'm trying to say. But running from the same bucket of app, but different containers. I don't know. It's a very strange way to say it. Anywho, on this other profile, I have OJ Blue, 3 bots that I'm going against. I'm going to go and start the game. Playing a completely separate game, completely individual from the previous one, different profile altogether, different stuff going on. I'm going to go ahead and do some, do a different move here, and then do a different thing there, and just finish this first turn. Let's see. Sure, let's invest in that. Seems like a bad idea, but let's do it. And then once that's done, we're going to switch over to the other profile. And what you'll see is that the game is still running on the other profile. So you can do multitasking too. There's no limitation on multitasking. You can do your split screen stuff too. There's no limitations on, well, there's limitation on split screen. On the main profile, you have the ability to split 3 ways. I always forget how to set it up, but you can do that. You also have the little side app tray that does not show up on the guest profiles, but it does still exist. Actually, I want to do this and this. Seems like a good move. Oh no, I want that. Don't want that one, don't want that one. And do that and throw that one away. Alright, cool, good stuff. Look at me playing a game. So there's that, just to kind of show the split screen. I can open a split screen for that. I guess I can't. Never mind. Oh, there we go. Alright. Well, it looks like the app doesn't like being a split screen apparently, but I can open a split screen for that. And let me see what's another app I can open split screen. Oh yeah, Juice SSH. I can open up SSH and kind of, you know, rearrange and all other stuff. I can do the rotation, all the other normal stuff. I can also add this in to the side tray over there. I think if I swipe in from over here, or did I turn it off? I might have turned it off. It's possible that I turned it off. The ability to do the swipe trays, so you can have the apps automatically arranged. And then, let's see, I can open up Eclipse. And from here, I can open this up in pop-up window. And, will it let me do this? I don't think it will. Maybe not. Also note that we're on the main profile right now, so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to see if this will allow me to kind of tag it over to the side. Probably not. It's not a feature that I use often at all, so me not being all that well versed at using it is not a it's not a sign of the feature not being usable. It's just I just don't use this particular feature all that much either, because it's kind of more of a hassle to set up, in my opinion. That's just me. Anyway, so we got a whole bunch of stuff going on, all the wild things going on. If I switch over to the other profile, and in that profile I can do similar things. I cannot do all the same things, so I can do split screen view. I can do the apps in the app tray view, or the windowed view, I think is what it's called. So if I go into here, I can do this and open split screen. Of course, it's not gonna like that too much. I can open up Juice SSH over here, so I can do some programming while playing some games. Eventually I'll load. There we go. Alright, so I got that going. It did kill my game though. I think it killed my game because of the whole split screen thing, which that's not a fault of this. It's a fault of something else. Let's see, what else can I open? I think I can open up this. Let's open up Pocket City. Should be able to open up this. Nope, not what I wanted. Pop-up window, got that here. If I can reach, come on. There we go. So I can move that over for pop-up window, Race for the Galaxy, where'd you go? There you are. Got this going on pop-up window. Yeah, so we can do like I said, kind of the same things. Kind of emphasizing that this works on the guest profiles as well. And then last but not least, let's go ahead and do the very final thing, which is switch over to the guest profile. So the guest profile is pretty interesting because every time you go into it, you have the ability to start from scratch, which I think is pretty cool. So we can have one guest profile, just everybody uses it. They can log in with their own accounts. They can do their own stuff. You do have to log in with your own Google Play accounts. You do have to log in with your own email accounts whenever you do the guest profile, which makes sense because it's a guest profile. But on the same token, it exists, it's there, and you can utilize it. Definitely a useful thing if somebody needs to use your tablet, or maybe needs a device to use for a little bit. And speaking of a little bit, man, take forever to unlock. So you all maybe cannot see it. Let me switch over here. Yeah, so yeah. Oh, looks like it might have crashed. Did it crash? Oh no, it's starting up. Okay. Ah, that took forever. All right, so I just want to switch over to the screen, show you that wasn't going crazy or anything. It was just, oh, it did crash. Wow. Interesting. Switching over to the guest profile while that thing was running actually crashed the, looked like it crashed the UI in the background. So it reloaded. All right, there we go. Okay, so we're back on the guest. Let me switch back over. So once we're in the guest, you can see the little window down at the bottom. It says, do you want to continue your session or do you want to start over? I want to start over. Once I do start over, it's essentially going to just take me back to this page because I didn't actually do anything when I changed this earlier. But for the most part, this basically clears out all the logins, clears out all the other apps installed that were temporarily installed, and gives you like kind of a fresh guest environment. So here we are on the fresh guest environment. We see the Google Play Store is not logged in. Excuse me, the Google Play Store is not logged in. We can also see that if you want to go to the Samsung store, it's not going to be logged in either. It's going to say, hey, you should probably log in. Or maybe not. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah. Got the, nope, continue, leave me alone. So you can go in and scroll through the apps. The same thing for OneDrive. Keep in mind that on this I have my school email logged in. So if I look through here, it's going to ask me to sign in for my OneDrive. I do not have it signed in on the guest, of course, but I do have it signed in on my own personal one, the first one that I use for school stuff. And I'm not going to go into the File Explorer because I think the File Explorer is somewhat shared. So it's segmented, but it's not completely segmented, meaning that it will show some of the other files depending on what file system I put in. I want to say the downloads for each individual one does not show for everybody, but don't quote me on that. It's not something that I've tested, apparently. So take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of all there really is to show with this. It's a feature that I feel like should be talked about more, should be kind of praised a little bit more, and I wanted to make sure to add to the collective pieces of information out there for this particular feature. Hopefully more people can use it. Hopefully more people do use it. I use it a lot. I've been using it for about 1.5 years since I had these devices, or a year. I think a year. I don't know. Can't give you an exact timeline. Don't quote me on that timeline. But I've been using this for quite a while. Is what I'm trying to say with the multiple things. And even on the older tablets I had, which is a Samsung Galaxy Tab A1, I think that device could do it too. Don't quote me on that because I'm not sure if it's exactly an A1. It was one of the A1s or A devices. That's all I remember. So yeah, so that is what's going on there. Oh, let's see the RAM usage. Let me go into here and think RAM. Can I not see for me? Huh. Oh, there it is, RAM Plus. Okay. Yeah, so if I go into here for the RAM, like I said, it's 12 gigs of RAM on this device, and I think we see the Google Play Store is using 101 megabytes of RAM. OneDrive is using 89 megabytes of RAM. There's, 4.5 gigabytes available apparently, because it looks like 2 gigs are reserved for whatever reason. So there's enough RAM for this to be able to actually go and do stuff. That's what I'm trying to show. On my Tab S7 FE, it has 6 gigs of RAM. It might struggle a little bit with what this current load is, but it will still be able to function with 3 profiles. On this device, it has 12 gigs of RAM, plenty of RAM to do this, which is why I would encourage people to do it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and end the video there. Thank you all for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know what they are. I'll try my best to answer them. I'm not the most technical person in the world, especially when it comes to these particular devices, but I can at least answer some questions and maybe do some testing if you have any testing in mind. But yeah, hope you were able to find some usage out of this. Hope this was valuable, hope this was useful, and as always, I will see you all whenever.